The Atlanta, Georgia real estate market is changing. In fact, in a drastic way. For the first time since 2012, we are officially in a balanced market. That's right, no longer a seller's market that we've been accustomed to for so many years. And there are so many stats to back this up. For example, there are nearly 500,000 more sellers than buyers. Sellers are also out of sync with buyers when it comes to the pricing of homes, with Redfin reporting a gap of as much as $38,672 from the expectation of what the buyer wants to buy and what the seller wants to sell for. Zillow's prediction as of April of this year point to more cities in America having a colder housing market. And if we look at more specifically some stats of Atlanta, top 5 metros with the highest number of build-to-rent units. Georgia is ranked number 4 with 8,000 units. So with more new homes that are going to be built to rent, meaning they won't be for sale, that's going to be less homes for buyers to pick from. And you may know that some of the best incentives are coming from new construction homes, but they're not going to be there available for buyers if they're going to be built to rent. Here's another statistic by Redfin that points to how many homes that are under contract that those contracts are being terminated and are falling through. Well, we can see here in Atlanta Metro, it is 20%, which is ranked the top #1 in the entire country. And when it comes to investor buyer demand in Atlanta, Georgia, we're seeing now a low as almost 2012, with a 65% drop from the peak, which was in Q2 of 2021. And if we look at home price cuts all across America, they are surging, and Georgia there is ranked in the top 10 for most price decreases or price adjustments in the overall housing market, with 19.31% of homes having a price decrease. And if those stats weren't enough to get your attention, well, here's the biggest one. Atlanta, Georgia, here categorized as a buyer's market with a total number of home sellers of 36,862, with the number of available active buyers in the market of 22,651, making the percentage difference a whopping 63%. Guys, this is a huge deal. And I'm going to walk you through some of the case studies, namely my own listings, to give you a real-life snapshot of what I've been experiencing in the market. Right off the top of my head, what I can tell you before we dive into some of these listings as case studies is that the market is definitely cooling, and in many ways. But we also have some pockets of cities and areas where it seems to be a resilient market, almost as if it is crash-proof. There is a housing market within a housing market, a bubble of sorts, not the kind where if you prick it, it will explode, but one in which it is sustainable while everything else around it is falling apart. Here, working in the North Atlanta metro suburbs, I see a lot of people move here from out of state. And not only are they moving from out of state, also within the state locally. But the ones that are highest demand are Swanee, Johns Creek, Alpharetta. Those markets are hot. Why? Because of the great schools. And these great schools are really the driving factor for why the home prices continue to appreciate in some of these areas. If you look at other parts such as East Gwinnett, as well as Hall and Barrow and other places in Forsyth and Cobb, price adjustments are happening often. So what can this mean for buyers and sellers? Well, the takeaway for sure is that for buyers, the opportunity to finally come into the market and purchase a home at a discount is wider than ever. That door has now opened wider than before. And for sellers, if you're looking to sell, it means that you have to be that much more prudent in understanding the market and pricing your home appropriately. One of the biggest things I've noticed is that with buyers, not only with home prices being so high and interest rates being so high, it is the fact that they're putting all that money into their down payment to just buy the home that they don't want to spend extra money after closing, namely renovations and repairs. So if you're looking for a home and the seller is not budging on the price, there's a good chance that if they really need to sell, they're gonna be lowering the price more and more. And right now, at the time of doing this video, in the month of June, this is actually a really good opportunity because those that are looking to buy, They are wanting to buy before the school year starts in August here in Atlanta. And since a typical closing takes 30 days to close, that means around July 4th, Independence Day, that first week of July will be your last opportunity to basically get in before the school season starts. So from a seller standpoint, if you want to sell your house to the biggest pool of buyers, you want to make sure your home is adjusted with their price if you need to sell it, because now is the time. Now, before we get into these case studies, you're gonna see that there is a dichotomy of two different worlds in the housing market, where the homes that are moving with the most buyer activity and offers are those that are move-in ready condition, renovated, they're updated, they have the latest trends, newer homes, versus the ones that are older, priced too high, and that have a lot of renovations that need to be done. I always tell people that there are two contests that as a seller you are competing in: a beauty contest and a pricing contest. If your home is on the market and it is not selling, there's usually one of two reasons or both. And that is that the price is too high, the pricing contest, and then your home needs more updates, the beauty contest. So if you know your home is not selling and your home is already updated and you can't do any more updates because it's already a very newly updated home, well, then you know it's the price. And if it's the price that's already low, then you know that somebody that wants to buy, they just still can't wrap around in their mind the kind of renovations that they're gonna have to do after closing. Okay, so case study number one, 2172 Misty Brook Court in Beaufort, Georgia. This is a single family, 2-story home on a slab. It's a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom home built in 2008 on 0.28 acres. It's got 2,732 square feet. Now, the current price for this is $470,000, but when we first listed it, it was listed for $510,000. Then we did a 10 grand price drop, and then another 15 grand, and now we're at another 15 grand at $470,000. I want to say that we're finally priced correctly to sell, but let's take a step back and ask ourselves, why did this home sit on the market for as long as it has? And this home has been sitting on the market for 61 days. Now, the reason why is when we've got buyers coming in, they're looking at everything in the home, not just inside the home, but also outside. And one thing they notice about outside is particularly the backyard. This home actually lacks a backyard, and that's one of the reasons why it's not getting offers. And that's one thing that you can't help. The beauty contest, the pricing contest, it doesn't fall in those two categories. That's one of those things where you just can't do anything about it. So why is that such an important thing? Well, more and more families are needing more and more space. And so if they can't find a backyard that could suit their family with kids that want to play baseball in the backyard, for example, or have a little bit more room for a trampoline or a dog that they can throw a frisbee to, then they're out. They're looking at other homes. Another thing that we got for feedback on this home was the interior was a bit too dark. There was not enough natural sunlight coming in, and so therefore we weren't getting any offers. About 30 days in, we did finally get an offer, but it was a really lowball offer of $450,000. And this person's idea of buying it at this price was so that they can have room to budget for renovations. Inside, one of the other feedbacks that we received from a lot of buyers is the carpet looked old and it needed to be replaced. It's now one thing that my seller is considering, but before going that route, we're doing a few more price drops to see if that will try to get a few more bites. Now, just upon looking at this listing initially, you may say, man, this home should have sold already. You can see that it's got a lot of nice space inside the home. It's got a good floor plan and it's suitable for families. It's got a long, wide driveway. And one of the best things about it is the location. It is only 5 minutes from Mall of Georgia. And as we know, Mall of Georgia is the biggest mall in the state of Georgia. And despite the location, this is how sensitive buyers are in this market. It has to be move-in ready condition and priced right. Now, let's look at case study number 2. This home at 6468 Peerless Avenue, selling in Sugar Hill, Georgia for $470,000. This is a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bathroom home built in 2018 on 0.15 acres, and the square footage is 1,878. And this is in a very sought after elementary school district, White Oak, and then the high school and middle school are Lanier. Now, this home got a contract within just 18 days. That's pretty good in this market, considering the days on market are now closer to around 40 or 50 in some cities and zip codes. So 18 days is actually pretty good. But one thing you may be asking, why did this home go under contract so soon and why at this price? The price of this home is the same as your other home in Buford, but it's got almost 1,000 square feet less and 2 bedrooms less. For a family, wouldn't they want a bigger house? Well, let's dive into this and I'm gonna provide some insight. One of the reasons right off the bat is you can see that it is a newer home, 2018. So you're talking HVAC, water heater, roof, all of those things, your big components, your major big ticket items, you don't have to replace those anytime soon because they're still fairly new. They're at the beginning part of their lifespan versus the end of their lifespan, whereas the other one, it does have an older HVAC that probably will need to be replaced soon. Another reason why this one sold fast is if you look at the pictures inside, this home is definitely updated. It's got hardwood floors throughout, granite countertops, it's got good lighting, good crown molding, the white shaker cabinets, which white seems to be the bigger style these days. It's got a good layout of the bedrooms upstairs. And the backyard is fenced and it has a sunroom. So it's catering to pets as well as kids, as well as being able to have that leisure time reading a book, sipping some coffee. When you wake up in the morning, you can go out to your sunroom to do that. Now, having said this, even with those pros with this home, I actually was a bit surprised that it did go under contract so soon. It is $250 price per square foot. So $250 per square foot, which typically you would see that with new construction. And while this is newer, it isn't new construction. Now, this caught me by surprise, but once again, this proves that newer homes in move-in ready condition really do sell in this market. People don't want to spend extra money out of pocket after closing to do renovations when their down payment is already a lot as it is. Let's do one more case study. Now, recap, case study number 1 was a semi-warm property, cold to semi-warm, and then case study number 2 was a hot property. This one we're gonna look at is a cold property, and I wanna tell you why. So this one is 355 Walker Avenue in Roswell. This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom townhome built in 2024. It's got 2,364 square feet, priced at $634,900. Now, we had this originally listed at $650,000, but a couple things right off the bat that's different from the other 2 listings. 1, this is a townhome, and 2, the location is different. In fact, the location is very prime, close to Avalon, only 9 minutes away, but the catch is the elementary school district is a 4 out of 10. So those that are wanting to move to the area, the ones that are most qualified that I work with on the buyer side are families because they have a reason to move. Their families are getting bigger. They need to move where a good school district is. Families aren't gonna wanna move here because the elementary school is not ranked high. Even though it is in a great location near Avalon, it just doesn't cut it. Now, another reason why this may be sitting on the market longer is the fact that it is a townhome. With a townhome, a lot of families, they prefer single family because of the space of the backyard and the size of the home itself. This one is a bit smaller too for a townhome. What I have seen with buyers when they are buying townhomes and they are families, typically they're looking at a minimum of 2,700 square feet or more. This one being around 2,300, it just doesn't cut it quite the way people want. And what I've noticed is that people are willing to pay a little bit more because of the space. There was an end unit, which that alone does add a little value, but that one itself was also 2,700 square feet and it went under contract in 10 days. My listing here, well, shockingly, it's been 103 days on market. Now you're probably thinking, Tim, I'm watching your video, I'm considering selling my home, and I may want to use you as my agent to sell my home, but you're giving me a couple case studies of homes that you're not selling and they're sitting on the market for a long time. So you're putting yourself out there to look like a bad realtor. But here's what I want to say, and hopefully you've already gotten this from just watching this video so far, is that the market dictates the demand and it dictates the price of the homes. I market my homes aggressively with social media marketing, professional photography, open houses, as well as getting feedback from all those agents that have buyers that show the home. But only so much can I do with marketing when it comes to the state of the market and the condition of the housing market itself. So while these homes are in good condition, like this one, only less than a year old, it still depends on many factors. Here's another one. So besides it being a smaller floor plan as a townhome and then being in a lower ranking elementary school district, the other big one is that it's competing with the builder. This home is less than a year old, so you're probably thinking, man, almost brand new. Why not put an offer on a home that's practically brand new? It's because you can go find another home by the builder in the same neighborhood. While it is maybe $20 or $30 or $40,000 more, they've got massive incentives where they can cover your closing costs, lower the purchase price, and buy down your interest rate, which over time can save you tons and tons of money. Not to mention with this one, if a buyer did want to choose their design options, they can't, of course, because it's a resale. But it has brown cabinets, which most buyers don't prefer. Most buyers would prefer white cabinets to give that wider, more open concept feel and vibe to the home. So if they want to buy a home from the builder, they still have the option to choose their designs, namely the white cabinets or quartz countertops, or whatever it is that you want as far as paint colors and the type of wood color. Now in the next video, I'm gonna do another state of the market video, and I'm gonna highlight a couple more other listings that are gonna really provide immense insight. So stay tuned and watch. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. My name's Tim Trevathan with Tim Trevathan Homes. I cover all local real estate content here in the Metro Atlanta area. If you're looking to move to Georgia or you're buying or selling within Metro Atlanta, give me a call. I help you guys on a daily basis. Whenever people are calling in, I'm helping you and to make sure that your dream does come true, whether it is to move here or to relocate. So until then, catch you on the next video.